This video is about calculating the lateral area and surface area of a prism and pyramid. So the first thing we have to do is go through some vocab. So the first vocab is a base. So in a prism, we have two bases of the same shape separated by lateral faces. So in most of these, it's easy to tell what the base is because we have two triangles here, we have two triangles here. It's separated by those rectangular sides. Same thing with this triangle and triangle, and this hexagon and hexagon. The only tricky shape is when we have a bunch of rectangles. So usually when we have a bunch of rectangles, one of them will either be shaded. If not, you can always just pick. So in this case, if nothing's shaded, I'm just going to pick the top and bottom to be my bases. Then your face is the flat polygon surfaces. So all of those rectangles would be lateral faces, and these bases would be other faces because they're also flat polygonal surfaces. The edges then are the line where two faces intersect. So for example, here and here would be a edge. And then a vertice is a point where three or more edges meet. So if we have that edge coming up behind here, that's dotted, and then we have here and here, they're intersecting at that vertice. So let's look at some formulas then. To find the area of a prism, the lateral area. So the lateral area is just like the walls. So think about like if you were painting a house, it would just be the walls of your bedroom. These are the lateral faces. So to find the area of the lateral face, it's the perimeter, which is A, B, and C, the three sides added together times the height. The total surface area then, we're going to use the lateral area, which is perimeter times height, plus the area of two bases. So if we look in this triangle over here, the blue are the two bases, and then these yellow sides are the three sides of the triangle. So let's find some area. So in number one, to find the lateral area of the rectangular prism. Well, in this case, we have a shaded side, so we know that these two are going to be our bases. So if we're finding the lateral area, we want the perimeter of the base times the height. Well, 22 is going to be the height. Even though it's not standing up, it's the distance between the two bases. So that's what the height is going to represent. If we look at our triangle, or our rectangle, we have sides of 7 and 5. So there are two sides of 7 and two sides of 5. So when we go to find our area, our perimeter is going to be 7 plus 5 plus 7 plus 5 times the height of 22. Well, if we add them together, our perimeter is 24 times 22, which gets us 528 feet squared. In number two, again, we're finding lateral triangular prism. That means the base is an equilateral triangle, so all sides are going to be 12. Our height is going to be 19. So we would have 12 plus 12 plus 12 times 19, which gets us 36 times 19, 684 centimeters squared. In number three, find the base area, the lateral area, and the total surface area. So the base area here, we have two right triangles. So our base area is very easy. And for base area, we'll use B. So capital B is equal to 1/2 base times height of the triangle. So 1/2 times 12 times 9, which gets us 54 inches squared. Then for lateral area, it's perimeter times height. Well, we don't know the perimeter of the triangle yet because we're missing this side. So first we're going to do Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side. So x squared equals 9 squared plus 12 squared. We get x squared equals 225. So x is 15. So our perimeter then would be 9 plus 12 plus 15 times our height, of 20. So when we multiply, that gets us 36 times 20, which is 720 inches squared. For total surface area, which we can call TA, it is your lateral area, which we just found in red, plus the area of two bases, which is the area we found in blue. So we have our lateral area plus the area of two bases. We already know our lateral area is 720, and we know that two of our bases are 54. So we get 828 inches squared. In number 4, a regular hexagonal prism has a side length of 18 yards and a height of 32. Find the total surface area. So total surface area is our lateral area plus two bases. So in a hexagon, we know that the lateral area is perimeter times the height. Well, the perimeter of a hexagon, if there are 6 sides that are 18, 6 times 18 gets us 108, and we know our height is 32. To get the area of the base, remember it is 1/2 apothem times perimeter. So we have to figure out what our apothem is. So if I draw a triangle, remember we don't have to draw the whole part of our hexagon. So in our triangle, our side length is 18, which is split into 9 and 9. The angle at the top of the hexagon, when we draw our triangle, is always 30 degrees. So if that is our S side, that makes our apothem 9√3, because that's the S√3 side. So we would have 2, because there are two bases, times 1/2 times 9√3, again times that perimeter of 108. So in that case then, we get 3,456 plus 486√3 yards squared. That's going to be our total surface area. In number 5, we have some rectangular prisms that were put together. So we can draw a line across to cut this into two rectangular prisms. So if I want to find my surface area of them, I have two prisms. So I have this one prism and I have this second prism in the back. So for the first prism, we have our rectangle, and it's a little bit different than doing total surface area because we only see 5 faces of the shape. So instead of doing it, we're going to treat it by seeing how many faces of the shape we see. So if we look at shape 1, we have two faces that are going to be 3 by 6 because the top and the bottom are going to have dimensions that are 3 by 6. So 2 times 3 times 6 plus we also have two shapes on the left and right that have a size of 9 times 6. Plus we have one face that we're looking directly at that is 9 by 3. Then if we look at our second shape, that one gets a little bit trickier because we have different shapes again, especially with part of it being covered up. So we know that we still have 2 of the 9 by 4 because we have one here and we have one on this back side. So we're going to add 2 times 9 times 4 plus on the top and bottom. If I look at this side of 3, this is also 3, which means this green line is 3. So the whole length here, 3 plus 8, is 11. So we have two shapes on the top and bottom that are 4 by 11. So we have 2 times 4 times 11. Plus on the back we have the 9. We have one of them that is 11 by 9. And then we have one on the front that we are looking at that is 8 by 9. So as we multiply each part out, 2 times 3 times 6 is 36. 2 times 9 times 6 is 108. So now we're going to look at a different shape, a pyramid. So in a pyramid, the vertex is the point where the lateral faces intersect. So where the triangles in this case intersect at the top is the vertex. The base then is going to be the face that is opposite the vertex. So the vertex is up here, our base is down here at the bottom. Our height is going to be the perpendicular distance between the vertex and the base. When we are looking at height, we are going to use an h. Slant height then is the distance from the vertex to the center of the lateral edge. So in this case, it would be like if you're sliding down the side of the pyramid. We're going to use a cursive L for slant height. So when we look at our formulas here, they're a little bit different than the prism. So a lateral area is 1/2 your perimeter times your slant height. Your total surface area is going to be 1/2 perimeter times slant height, which again is our lateral area, plus the area of only one base. So remember, in pyramids, it's different than prisms. We only have one base. So in number 6, we want to find the lateral area of the equilateral triangle base prism. So if it's equilateral, that means all of the sides are 6. So we would have 1/2 times the perimeter, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6, times our slant height. Now, we don't have the slant height yet because 5 is an edge height. So we're going to draw in our slant height. When we draw in the slant height, it bisects that side into 3 and 3. So if we do Pythagorean theorem, 5 squared equals 3 squared plus x squared. 25 equals 9 plus x squared. 16 equals x squared. So x is 4. So our slant height would be 4. So as we multiply then, 1/2 times 18 times 4 gets us 36 centimeters squared. Total surface area of the square base pyramid. Again, we don't have our slant height, so if we draw our slant height in, it bisects that side 14 into 7 and 7, so we have 25 squared equals 7 squared plus x squared. 625 equals 49 plus x squared. 576 equals x squared, so x is 24. When we go to find our area then, we have to do 1/2 our perimeter. Well, if there are 4 sides that are 14, our perimeter is going to be 56 times our slant height of 24 plus the area of one base. Well, remember our base is a square, so we have 14 times 14. So we get 672 plus 196, which is 868 meters squared. In number 8, we want to find the base area, the lateral area, and the total surface area of a rectangular base. In a rectangular base, our base is just going to be base times height, so 10 times 18 would be 180 inches squared. Now, for lateral area, it's 1/2 perimeter times slant height. But because it is a rectangular base, all of our faces are not going to have the same slant height. So we need to find 2 slant heights. So I'm going to draw in my slant height here, and I'm going to draw in my slant height here. So if this is 18 on this side's 18, half of 18 is 9. So I can do Pythagorean theorem with x squared equals 12 squared plus 9 squared. X squared equals 225, so x is 15. So the slant height here is 15. So we have 2 faces, the triangles in the front and back are going to be 2 times the 1/2, 10 times 15. So we're just finding the area of the triangle separately instead of doing the lateral area formula because of our rectangular base. Plus, we have 2 other triangles that if we split this side in half is 5. We have y squared equals 12 squared plus 5 squared. Y squared equals 169. Y is 13. So this slant height is 13. So we have 2 times 1/2 times 18 times 13. Okay, again, we cannot do perimeter because all of our lateral faces are not the same shape. So when we do this, and we add those together, we get 384 inches squared. Then to get your total surface area, it's just the lateral area plus the area of the base. So when we add those two together, we get 492 inches squared. Let's look at one more problem. So in number 9, we want to find the total surface area of the composite solid. As you're going to find out the total surface area, think about painting it. So this side in here, where the prism and the pyramid meet, we're not going to include that because nobody sees it. So what we want to do is we want to go shape by shape. Now, if we start down here on the prism, we have a base that is 16 times 10. So we have one of those bases. Then, if the height's also 10, we have two sides over here and here that have the dimensions of 10 by 10. We have 2 times 10 by 10. And then we have two front and back that are 10 by 16. Then when we get to our triangles, because our bases are different sides, just like before, we slant heights. So 10 is bisected into 5 and 5. So we have 20 squared equals 5 squared plus x squared. So that gets us 400 equals 25 plus x squared. 375 equals x squared. So x is going to equal 5 root 15. So we have two triangles that have an area of 1/2 times 10 times 5 root 15. And then if we go down the other way, that splits a side into 8 and 8. So we have 20 squared equals 8 squared plus x squared. 400 equals 64 plus x squared. So when we subtract 64, we get 336 equals x squared, which reduces to 4 root 21. So our slant height here is 4 root 21. So we have two triangles that are 1/2 times 16 times 4 root 21. So as we multiply here, we are going to get 160 plus 200 plus 320 plus 50 root 15 plus 64 root 21. So the constants, these three numbers, can combine together, and that gets us 680 plus 50 root 15 plus 64 root 21 feet squared.